Adrian Salinas was living what many would describe as a charmed life in the vibrant, bustling college town of Tempe, Arizona. At just 19 years old, she was the epitome of youthful exuberance, gorgeous, vivacious, and full of promise. She was attending college, surrounded by a close-knit group of friends, deeply in love with her serious boyfriend, and adored by her doting father, Rick Salinas. To Rick, Adrian was more than just his daughter. She was his little girl, his pride and joy. Even as she grew older, their bond remained unshakable. They still went out for dinners, caught the latest movies, and spent quality time together, cherishing the kind of father-daughter relationship that many only dream of. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for in-depth coverage of true crime, unsolved mysteries, and the dark side of history. In the days leading up to Father's Day in 2013, Adrian and Rick had made plans for a special weekend together, a fun barbecue at home to celebrate the occasion. But as Saturday rolled around, Rick noticed something unusual. He hadn't heard from Adrian. At first, he brushed it off, thinking she might be busy with friends or schoolwork. But by Sunday, when there was still no word from her, a gnawing sense of dread began to creep in. Rick's heart sank. Something felt terribly wrong. He decided to drive over to her apartment, hoping to find her safe and sound. But when he arrived, the scene that greeted him was anything but reassuring. The door was slightly ajar, and as he stepped inside, he was met with an eerie silence. Adrian's dog was there, wagging its tail. Her cats lounged lazily on the couch, but Adrian herself was nowhere to be found. The apartment was empty, and there was no sign of her. Panic began to set in. Rick called her friends, her family, anyone who might have known her whereabouts. But with each phone call, his fears only deepened. With no other options left, Rick dialed 911. "Do you know what my daughter's missing?" "She's not a runaway," he pleaded with the dispatcher. The police quickly sprang into action, launching a canvass of the area. It was painfully clear that Adrian Salinas had vanished without a trace. As officers arrived at Adrian's apartment, so did her friends and her boyfriend, Francisco Ortega. Francisco revealed that he hadn't seen Adrian since the previous Friday night, when the two had gotten into a heated argument. According to him, the fight had started at a birthday party held at Adrian's apartment. The celebration had gone on late into the night, with Adrian and Francisco leaving around 2:30 a.m. after hours of drinking and dancing. But as they drove away, tensions flared. Adrian accused Francisco of not paying enough attention to her, and the argument escalated. "We wanted to go to my apartment, where it's more private to talk about things," Francisco later recounted. "But things got out of hand. I was driving her back to her house when we had to stop by Old Town, a popular hangout spot for college students in Tempe. The streets were lit up and traffic was moving slowly. That's when she just hopped out of my car." Francisco admitted that this was the last time he ever saw Adrian. Concerned for her safety, Francisco called Adrian's roommates to make sure she had made it home. They went out to find her and managed to walk her back to the apartment. But Adrian, still upset, didn't stay put for long. She went inside, grabbed a bag, changed her clothes, and told her friend she was going back to Francisco's house. And just like that, she was gone. No one ever saw her again. As the investigation unfolded, police began piecing together the events of that fateful night. They discovered that Adrian had left behind a trail of clues, many of which pointed to foul play. After leaving the party, she had attempted to contact Francisco repeatedly, calling him at least 37 times. Not once did he answer. She even sent him a text message telling him she was coming over to see him. At around 3:44 a.m., a 911 call came in reporting a possible erratic driver. The caller described a white Taurus-looking vehicle that had gone around a curb, hit something, and ended up with 2 flat tires. Investigators believe this was Adrian's car. Despite the damage, she managed to drive it as close as she could to her apartment, parking it about a block away. Even in her distressed state, Adrian was clearly determined to reach Francisco. She returned to her apartment, changed her clothes again, left her car keys behind, and began calling him once more. When he still didn't answer, she called a cab company from her cell phone. The path she could have taken to the local gas station, where she was supposed to meet the cab, was only 4 blocks from her apartment. But she never arrived. Surveillance footage from the gas station showed no sign of her, and the cab driver, who had spoken to her 3 times, confirmed that she never showed up at the designated pickup spot. It was as if Adrian had vanished into thin air. Her father, Rick, and Francisco desperately retraced her steps, hoping to find any clue that might lead them to her. As Rick walked around the block near her apartment, he spotted her car parked on the side of the road. Rick refused to give up. He quit his job and devoted all his time to searching for his daughter. The Tempe Police Department also made Adrian's case a top priority. They scoured miles of terrain. The investigation led them to focus on Francisco, who was subjected to multiple lie detector tests and intense questioning about the troubles in his relationship with Adrian. Then, 2 months after Adrian's disappearance, a devastating discovery was made. Her partial remains were found near the Apache Trail, in a wash at the base of the Superstition Mountains. The location was over 30 miles from where Adrian had last been seen, raising even more questions about what had happened to her. To this day, the case remains unsolved. Police have no suspects and cannot even determine the cause of Adrian's death. Her family is left with nothing but unanswered questions and a gaping hole in their lives. If there was anybody out there who saw anything suspicious, a vehicle pulled off on the side of the road, a struggle, a female walking by herself, somebody who looked distraught, that little piece of information can help us solve this case, Rick pleaded. We need answers. We need closure. For Rick, the pain of losing his daughter is unbearable. As a man, as a dad, you always want to protect your children, he said, his voice breaking. I wish I had my daughter here to hold again. Did she cry out for me in her last moments? Why couldn't I have been there for her? Adrian Salinas' story is a haunting reminder of how quickly life can change and how fragile our sense of security truly is. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Until next time.